So we have the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, their report on Russian active measures. At the end of the day, after 14 months, the key paragraph is, while the committee found no evidence that the Trump campaign colluded, coordinated, or conspired with the Russian government, the investigation did find poor judgment, ill-considered actions by the Trump and Clinton campaigns. All right, joining us now, Sara Carter, investigative reporter, Sidney Powell, licensed to lie. The president rightly responds after that, this now has to end. Sara Carter.
Well, the president is right. If there is no evidence of a crime, then what is this special counsel for in this investigation? And it appears, based on all of these months of investigation, that they have not found one inkling of a crime that proves that President Trump's campaign colluded with Russia. I think what's even more interesting, Sean, is right after the president tweeted that out, once again, Brennan goes ahead and tweets out, a very partisan, what he's been doing for some time, as well as James Clapper, a partisan tweet directed at the president saying, a highly partisan, incomplete, and deeply flawed report by a broken House committee means nothing. I mean, this is the former director of the CIA coming out against the President of the United States. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of situations in Pakistan and in other nations like Russia, where the intelligence apparatus, members of the intelligence apparatus come out and attack their leadership openly in an attempt, what we've been reporting all along, and some people have called a soft coup, right? That they tried to attempt on the President of the United States. It's really incredible. He talks about partisan.
What about the leak of the dossier to CNN and other people by Clapper, and Clapper lied about it and then was forced to acknowledge he did leak it almost immediately. They did it.
I think one of the report's most interesting findings, Sean, is number 44, finding that Clapper gave inconsistent accounts of his communications with CNN.
Well, Sidney, let me interrupt you. Before 44 is 43, and it says, continued leaks of classified information have damaged national security and potentially endangered lives. This is not a game here.
No, it's not.
And then explain 44. Serious. I have it in front of me, but go ahead.
Yes, in 44, they found that former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, now a CNN national security analyst, provided inconsistent testimony to the committee about his contacts with the media, including CNN. In other words, that's a nice way of saying that Clapper lied.
And he's lying, but this is highly classified. If they're explaining we're back to U.S. U.S. Code 18793 again. Now it's all of them seem to be in trouble. All of them seem to be in trouble for the same thing. Leaking intelligence, also lying about all of it, which I guess maybe explains why they wanted Hillary Clinton off the hook. Sara.
Well, this is so important because you're absolutely right. It's detrimental to national security. If you remember, Sean, I reported in early March about Clapper and his connections to CNN and how the congressional committees were very concerned about this fact. And not only that, Clapper came out shortly after after he made, obviously leaked all this information, not only to CNN, but to other journalists. That's what they discovered in this report as well. And he chastised the leaks. So, these leaks are so damaging to national security. Yes, they are. Yes, they are, Mr. Clapper. They're very dangerous to national security because all of a sudden, all of the people, the state actors that our president is talking to, the intelligence reports that are being collected by our analysts, these are serious intelligence reports, not the ones that they wanted to go out by foreign agents like Christopher Steele and the Russians on the president, damage the White House, damage the foundation of our country. They damage our partnerships. This is very serious, and I'm certain Clapper is going to be wrapped up into these investigations.
What about Brennan? Is Brennan up to it?
Leaker.
What about Brennan?
And Brennan as well. I mean, Brennan and Clapper are extremely close. Brennan and Clapper and Comey as well are very close. They appear to have known, all three of them, what was going on down here. Now, Comey himself is walking back statements that he originally made. He's being caught in what appears to be inconsistencies with his own statements. And these are issues that the Inspector General is going to be investigating, not only the Inspector General, but remember the prosecutors that are put in place to look at these leaks. Jeff Sessions himself, the Attorney General, said there's over 27 leak investigations ongoing right now in the Justice Department. I'm certain one of those is Clapper, and I'm certain there's other people involved in the FBI with leaking information that should have not been out there and not in the press.
I think that's really well said. So where do we go from here? Look, this is your background, Sidney. This is what you do. Evidence is overwhelming, incontrovertible. We're now getting criminal referrals from Congress and the IG, and now James Comey is under investigation. That would mean Clapper and Brennan are next?
Exactly. They definitely should be. I've got an article in the Daily Caller that focuses on 2 days in January of 2017, January 5th and 6th, taken from Susan Rice's memo to herself on January 20th about the meeting in the Oval Office, actually on January 5th, with President Obama, Sally Yates, James Comey, Clapper, and Brennan, when they say they don't discuss the Steele dossier. But, of course, that's exactly what was going on in their minds at the time, because they sent Comey the very next day to brief President-elect Trump on only the salacious allegations of the dossier, and Comey admits in his memo that he did it on January 6th at the direction of Clapper, and that he did so according to his plan. He said he executed the session with the President-elect exactly as he had planned.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do we know that's coming? I got rumblings that next week, in terms of revelations, are going to be massive. Sarah, you're more connected than me.
I'm hearing the same thing, Sean, and I think there's going to be what's coming is a further unredacted report. We know that Congress right now is fighting to get their Russia report less redacted so that the American people can see it. I've been talking to a number of sources on Capitol Hill that say that some of the redactions put in place on this Russia report, and there's extensive redactions in it, don't include and don't appear to include anything that was classified. So they are going to be fighting for that. They're going to fight to get that out. I think there's going to be a lot of revelations about Comey, revelations about others, and continuing investigations. For the American public, I know this is exhausting. It's exhausting for us investigating it, but it's so important. It's important to the foundation of our country that we get to the truth, that we tell that truth, and that corrections can be made so we can reverse course. And you called this the year of the boomerang, Sean. It really is the year of the boomerang, and I think for a lot of us, we've been stunned at what's been discovered. I mean, it's stunning.
It is now all being proven and come to fruition. I got to thank you both for being with us. We really appreciate everything that you've done to help get us to this. Sarah, I believe you're staying, correct?
Correct.
And thank you, Sidney. We always appreciate having you on. We're changing gears a little bit here. We have Heidi Riggs joining us. She's a chief administrative officer of Alvis, here to talk about one of the more under-discussed issues involving our national security, and that's opioids. That's fentanyl. That's heroin. And the epidemic. My good friend Eric Bolling, tweeted out the information. He's doing an amazing job after he lost his son at 19. And it's happening all around the country. In Heidi's case, her mom died in January of 2012 at the age of 20, hooked on heroin, pushed through the state of Ohio. Small towns, big cities, it has now become a massive epidemic. Thank you both for being with us. I'm very sorry, Heidi, about your mom.
Hello?
Heidi, I'm sorry you lost your daughter back in 2012. I apologize. I can't believe, at the age of 20, I don't know how you survived something like that.
It's difficult. I lost her January 28th, 2012, 2 weeks after her 20th birthday. She only lived 18 months from the time we found out.
And I'm sure, like parents that find themselves in that situation, that in fact you did everything possible to get her off these things.
Yes, two times in treatment, of course, based on insurance. You know, the first time was only 30 days. The second time was 90 days, out of pocket, close to $20,000. And it wasn't enough. That's just kind of hold that it had on her.
Yeah. I do know that the president has spent a lot of time, Sarah, and I know Eric Bolling's been part of this effort, and that real attention is now being given to this opioid crisis in the country. Let me play cut one here so people can understand it.
If you would have asked us, what do you know about heroin? I would have said a street drug, a junkie's drug. You know, not something that you hear about on TV. It's not something that you would find in a community like Pickerington or any suburb. I mean, every day was that we have to keep her alive. We have to save her. If she said she was going to a meeting, I would follow ahead of time and sit in the parking lot and see her walk in because I could breathe again because she showed up. We got one more day. She's sober one more day.
I remember walking into the apartment and I've never heard such a horrendous scream in all my life. When I went up and walked through that bathroom door and saw him there holding my daughter, I knew immediately she'd passed away.
I know. She really wanted to make it. And I know she doesn't want to see any other family go through what we have gone through. And I know she wants me to talk about it.
Tens of thousands of people are dying, including your daughter, Heidi. That's so sad.
55,000 Americans a year are dying. And it's horrific. If this was any other disease or any other epidemic, I believe as a country we'd be dealing with it very differently. But I think the stigma plays a part. Thank you for playing part of that video. That video has been seen over 11 million views as far as Canada and Australia. And I think it really does show that no one is immune from this. It doesn't discriminate. It affects every walk of life, and it is in every community.
It's in small towns, big cities. It's everywhere, Sarah Carter.
It's everywhere, and it's coming across our border, Sean. And I want people to think of it this way. We're working on a very big project on the U.S.-Mexico border, and the deadly fentanyl that is coming across our border. I know there's a lot of issues when it comes to opioids, but I can tell you it's extraordinary when it comes to the border crisis and why the president and others are fighting so hard. People have to think of it this way, and I know Heidi, and she is an amazing woman who has really fought to make her daughter's life mean something for everyone and her daughter's death. And when we think about this, we have to think of our children. There are predators out there ready to hook our children on heroin, ready to give our kids that one first taste of that, what they call the devil. This is what heroin addicts say. It's like the devil. It draws you in. Sometimes you don't even know it, and before you know it, it's taken over your whole life. And something has to happen. The amount of fentanyl that comes over that border, the amount of money that the drug cartels make off of these illicit drugs that are really taking a generation of children is incredible.
This is a national security emergency. Absolutely. People want to argue about building the wall. I've been to the drug warehouses down there. I've been wall to wall, floor to ceiling, the biggest warehouse you've ever seen. And a stench that is unbelievable. Well, Heidi, I want you to know, and your family, please know you're in our thoughts and prayers. And I know that there's a lot of movement in this. And I think, if it's possible, maybe we'll put you in touch with our friend Eric Bolling. He's now devoting his life to this after he lost his son. And
yes, it's important, Sean, because this is killing a generation, and the collateral damage to our nation, to our states, and our communities is just astounding. And I believe, I've been saying this for the last year, that I believe this is domestic terrorism. Why would you manufacture a drug that would kill your customer?
Wow.
I have said that, and now you have
these kids get
responders.
hooked on Vicodin, Percocet, or OxyContin. And then if they want to, then they get addicted. Then they pay $80 a pill. And then somebody says, "Well, you can have this bag of heroin. It's a stronger high, and it's only $10." And they don't. Who knows who makes this crap?
No, they don't. And it's not just heroin, but a lot of the drugs coming over the border are laced, whether that be marijuana, Adderall.
Yeah, you're right.
The recent statistics are showing that people are now going straight to heroin, where past statistics have shown the progression from prescribed opioids then to heroin. So this is important. I mean, we lose more people to
I've got to
heroin
take a break.
than we
It's
do
scary.
guns.
You're right.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's scary. It really is. I'm so sorry, but Heidi, thank you for the good work you're doing. Sarah, thank you. Quick break right back.